Good morning. Good morning. It's another pleasant Monday morning within the Federation. It's Monday, the 25th of May. And today's program, we're going to call it Off the Cuff. I don't have a particular topic, so we'll be taking things off the cuff. But before we get into the flow of things, we're going to pay this tribute to our sponsors, and then we get back to get into the program.
Top up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today. $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
Okay, that being said, once again, we're back. My name is Socrates, and you're listening to Voices. I'll be your host today for today's segment. And we entertain calls, opinions, questions from the public at large. It's actually a program. All we ask is that you keep it clean. I'm going to ask for the callers to be mindful of the fact that there are many callers who try weekly or daily in the various programs to get in. And there's a complaint that some callers are allowed to stay on for too long. I know at one point in the past, callers were limited to 3 minutes to make the points, etc. I'm going to go extend it to about 5 minutes. If you can make a point within 5 minutes, you're free to call back. But it's in fairness to all the other folks who have been trying over the many weeks to get in on the program and cannot, because they claim that we allow certain people to speak for 15, 20 minutes, and that is true to some extent, depending who they are. At times, there are no calls on the other end, and so we extend that courtesy. But we'll ask the public who wants to call in, try to keep their commentaries to a maximum of 5 minutes. Before we open the lines, I'd like to take liberty and read a document that was sent to me in my capacity as the president of the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative. And I know for a fact that similar copies were sent to the president of both the St. Kitts Taxi Association and Mr. Brandy of the Liamiga Taxi Association. This came from the new, I think, chairman of the Transportation Board, Mr. Ron Collins. And I'll read it for the purpose that will become clear very shortly. It says, "Dear Mr. Hodge, I wish through this medium to inform you of Cabinet's approval of measures to provide relief and support to bus drivers and taxi drivers during this COVID-19 challenge. In this regard, Cabinet has approved the assistance to bus operators, and taxi drivers by 1, the reinstatement of concessions which were withdrawn due to the restructuring and the IMF program. These concessions will now be reinstated, and duty-free concessions for brake pads / brake shoes and other parts within reason will be granted on application. 2, support for the Poverty Alleviation Program, PAP, if their household income falls below $3,000, and I guess it says a month. 3, support for the Social Security Initiative COVID-19 relief benefit payment, whether or not they are current with their Social Security payments. I'm going to read that again because there's been lots of debate as to whether or not people were qualified for that relief. There were some people who pushed back against it. Even taxi drivers argued against it. They took a self-righteous stand. I argued that this was a compassionate measure because it was and is a relief fund. So, I'll repeat that. Support from the Social Security COVID-19 relief benefit payment, whether or not they are current with their Social Security payments. It continues. For further information, please contact, and they have the contact information, Ministry of Public Infrastructure et al. 467-2103. The St. Christopher Navy Social Security Board, 465-2535. The Ministry of Sustainable Development, and that's 467-1065. I have also included a copy of the form from which the following to facilitate your application. There's one from PAP, the Poverty Alleviation Program, and there's another form from the Social Security Initiative COVID-19 Relief Fund. I had a text from one of my members some nights ago saying, Socrates, thank you for actually agitating on our behalf because I represent a membership. So does Mr. Brandy from the Laimega Taxi Association, Mr. Barry Daniel of the St. Kitts Taxi Association. And they were, as I mentioned before, even some taxi drivers saying that if you were not compliant with the payments up to date, you should not qualify. And there are those who were like the Pharisees. I hope I don't provoke Mr. Jeffrey. There were those who were like the Pharisees saying, well, you don't pay, you shouldn't get, and it was a very self-righteous position that they took. I want to thank the folks who went to bat on the behalf of the many in the tourism industry whose industry was affected, and they were told, well, you shouldn't benefit from any relief at all because you were not compliant with the payments. So this letter, this document state that whether or not you're up to date with your payments, it's a relief fund. It was a compassionate measure taken on by the folks who looked at it from a different angle and decided to assist everyone who happened to be in need, affected by the ravages of COVID-19. Now, as I said, it's Off the Cuff Monday. The lines are now open for anyone who wishes to call in with questions, commentary, opinions, etc. All we ask is that we keep it clean. Over the last couple of days, we would have observed an extension or the extending of the lifting of the curfew. For the past couple of weeks, we had it from Monday to Friday, and then it was back on the weekend, what we call lockdown. I think late on Friday or around midday thereabouts, there was a mention by the authorities that the little freedom would be extended over the weekend. And there were some who questioned how it was done because they said folks who maybe had like supermarket workers would have to make arrangements. They're looking at payrolls, et cetera, et cetera. And to the extent I drove up on Saturday and I was going by a certain service station and they were closed. That was surprising. So maybe if they had anticipated, okay, here we go, Off the Cuff Monday, you're live on Voices.
Good morning, how are you?
Count the blessings, so I'm okay. Yourself?
Count my blessings, I'm okay.
You're live on Voices.
Yeah, what I want to say, right? You read one thing they're talking about, the taxi drivers who, whether they pay or they didn't pay Social Security, they can now benefit. Uh, Mr. Host, I really don't know. I'm not in that field, but I really don't know how these taximen will take it. Because, you see, the argument was made from a long time. The argument was made from a long time that whatever they say is going on out there, this COVID or whatever virus, that it affects everybody who has had a job. It affected their revenue, their income. Why Social Security was used as a line of demarcation, and why it plunged people's, how should I put it? Why should it plunge people into this kind of mental stress, if I should go there? Maybe that's a bit deeper, harsh, right? And people were saying COVID affects everybody, whether they're paid into Social Security or not. So there should have been a fund, a special fund, set aside to assist.
We're on the same page.
Me personally, I don't think I would have started with 1,000. It would have been lower. Because me personally, I think I would have assessed situations around now, and I would have wondered if it really made sense to start giving anything at this point or not, or leave it until, but nonetheless, as it is. But I don't know. This is very confusing, and I guess it would be hurtful to some persons, because someone would ask, why now? But why? And how long will this last? Anyway, I'll continue to listen if I...
Okay. If I may reflect on that point of view, there's another call on the line, so I'll get back to that point. Call your 11 voices.
Good morning, Mr. King.
Good morning, sir. What though?
All right. I just want to make observation. I want to commend Councilman Kenrick Christian for his endorsement of team unity. And the reason why I say that is not just an endorsement. Over the past few days, we look at some people with their endorsement and the way it was done. And I refer to some of them as foster, surrogate, adopted, and prodigal children of labor that has returned home. And nothing wrong with that, because if you need to go home, you need to go home.
Okay.
But some of the endorsement in the way that they would do it is a sneaky way, sneak into the back door. And, they have to make this big announcement. They're going to make an endorsement or announcement of something, looking for attention.
Ahead of time?
Yes.
They alerted the media ahead of time okay, I got you.
Yes. I look at Councilman Kenrick, and you notice about him, Mr. King, he's not bitter, calm, cool, and composed.
And he gave his rationale.
That's right. I recalled and one thing you notice a lot of them endorsement is not country about self anymore now. It's self about country. They're after one person, and they don't care about bringing on the country. In the latter 90s, or the middle 90s, when the government changed, Mr. Kenrick was in charge in the permanent secretary office
tourism
in United Nations. Yes.
Okay,
and
sorry.
When that government was changed in New York City, I'm sorry, the permanent the foreign affairs office in downtown Manhattan. I forget the abbreviation where they refer to it. One of the things that was done, the entire consulate office, the consulate office, was closed down to victimize the people that was there, including him. And you never heard him utter one word in referring to that against anybody. You know what I'm saying? That is country above self, not bitter weeds, bitter against people. You have a right to disagree and go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? And I want to commend him the way he did it. A man of class and a man of weight. Thank you, Mr. King.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the first to call us to keep in your commentary within 5 minutes. I'm happy with that. Call your 11 voices.
Good day.
Good day to you,
Mr.
sir.
Socrates.
Yes, sir. Good day to you.
Yes, yes. Greetings in the name of Jesus Christ, the only Savior of sinners, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say what I've been continually saying, okay? It doesn't matter who is in power. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is doing things God's way. Because if we do not do things according to the Bible, we will not be going forward. We will always be going backward. And God knows we are not doing things according to the Bible. Nor have we ever been doing things according to the Bible. And thus we have always been on the road to destruction as a nation and as a federation. And most of us as individuals as well. Now, we make argument, we fight each other, but it is very interesting when it comes to the things of God, we put them on the back burner for politics, for partisan politics, I should say, partisan politics.
Anything specific you're referring to, sir?
Hello?
Anything specific you're referring to?
Anything?
You said the things of God we put on the back burner when it comes to politics, so I'm asking, is specific that you're referring to at this moment?
Well, almost everything. Almost everything. Because for example, even if you start, okay, for example, even the voting system, period, to start with, is not in accordance with the Bible. And because of that, even in the churches, because they are a big part of the system, even in the church you have all kind of divisions and all kind of hatred against each other in the churches that are destroying the churches rather than the churches leading to show the society the best way to go, which is the Bible way. So even the voting system, which even many Christians participate in, have affected them very negatively, not in accordance with the Bible. But even if it was in accordance with the Bible, even if that was the case, which is not, the qualifications for leaders, for example, in Exodus chapter 18, verse 21, and in Deuteronomy chapter 20, and in Deuteronomy chapter 1, and so on. Even the qualifications for leaders, nobody on any side of the political divide have meet those qualifications.
And this goes back how far, to your knowledge? This goes back how far, to your knowledge?
And from what I've seen and from what I've heard. So yes, in that sense, as far as where my knowledge is concerned, in that sense.
Before your time? This go back before your time? Before our time? This practices...
That has always been the case, and it still is the case in the present day.
Okay.
But most of all, the church is affected by it, because the church, instead of leading the nation in the right way, the church has also become infected by the unbiblical and anti-biblical way of doing things. And even the church has been affected very negatively by it and are being destroyed by it, because the church is not doing what is right according to the Bible. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you respected the time limits. And there's another call on the line as we speak. Caller, welcome. You're live on Voices.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How about now?
I just want to make two quick points, because I've been trying to get into Voices for quite a while from overseas. I just want to make two quick points. My first point is in relation to the petition who are overseas studying, especially those who are in Barbados. I don't know if any members of the government is listening to this program.
Take a second, sir. Your volume level have dropped. I don't know if it's at your end, but your volume is dropped. We need to be able to hear it clearly. So if you want to readjust or change location.
Yes, you can hear me better?
A lot better. Go ahead.
Yes, so as I was saying, I do not know if any of the members of the government is listening to this program.
They would be.
But my first point is based on the petition who are overseas studying, who could not get home, who the government promised to assist financially, and to date have not done so. As I said, especially those in Barbados.
Okay.
The government reached out to them about getting home. After they could not get home, the government reached out to them and told them that they will financially assist them with the $1,000. Come on, government of St. Kitts and Nevis. These young people are out there, don't know where the next dollar is coming from because of the lockdown in Barbados. You promised to help them, and I am asking you in the media to find out from the government why this help is not urgently done. And I do hope that somebody from the government can call in and address this issue urgently. My second point is about the immigration situation in St. Kitts and Nevis. If you Kittitians do not think that it is a problem, go to MoneyGram and Western Union every Friday and you will see where the economy is being drained. If we can go back a few years ago when the hustler used to go to St. Martin and station for us to shop, and that alone started to be a burden on the economy in St. Kitts and Nevis. And if Kittitians do not realize that the lot of illegal immigrants in St. Kitts and Nevis and a lot of immigrants that are draining the economy, I do not know who is going to be the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis after the election. But drive by MoneyGram, Western Union, and the new one just recently opened, and you will realize that your economy is being drained. St. Martin had a backbone in Holland and the Dutch government. We do not have a backbone. We are an independent nation. If we do not take charge of the immigration problem in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are going to find out in the long run the burden is going to be on the people of St. Kitts and Nevis when everybody goes back to their country when they finish draining the economy.
Okay, so before you leave, can you clarify? I am clear on the first point you made. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. But in terms of as you phrase it, the immigration problem, you can expound? I mean, I want to give you 5 minutes on more, but just expound because
let me explain.
the immigration problem.
You for the time.
If you're speaking about the folks sending remittances back home, you're saying they're illegal. And so it becomes an immigration problem because they're illegally. Huh?
There's a lot of illegal immigrants from the Dominican Republic and other places in St. Kitts and Nevis, sir. That is not stale news. Everybody know that.
So you're saying that the immigration department has been lax?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me explain my point, sir. Over the years, and when our young people come out of high school, our young people used to work hard that they can get the CXE subject. TDC, Hosford, and all of these people used to take the cream of the crop. The big islands in the Caribbean like Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, those islands come up with the idea of the single market and the free movement because they had an overlap of people with master's degree and all of these things in their countries who are not getting work. Now the single market free movement started, which has not benefited the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis because our people do not go to these places to look jobs. Now our young people who is coming out of high school with their CXE subjects have to compete with people who are coming from these islands with master's degree. Remember, it was the people with the CXE subjects coming out of high school is that built TDC, Hosford, Gilliel Walwyn, all of these places. Now they cannot get into these places because these places are taking the foreigners with the master's degree and the doctorate and all of these things.
Okay, sir. Got your point.
Think it is suffering. Think its people is suffering. Foreigners are placed in front of us. The single market is not working for Sinkit and Nevis. It is people who are coming in. We are not going out to these places. It's not working for us, sir. And yes, the immigration system is lapsed because of the government, not because the immigration department wants to lapse. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for expounding on that point you made. I would like to address that a bit later. Okay, caller, your last call before the... Okay, 11 voices. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, moderator. Since we're in the election mode, I'd just like to make a couple of comments, if I may. We speak about free and fair elections because this is a democracy. And one of the things is that we don't just want platitudes, we want actions and certain behaviors that would show that we have a free and fair system here. Just want to comment on one or two things. One, I went the other day to check on the voters list because, of course, elections are coming up. As I've done all the time I've been voting, I always go a few days before to see that I am at the right polling station, etc. When I went there, I realized that the voters list was down. And I checked with the lady who was there, said, well, people have been coming, but they just ripped it down. It was just taken down the other day because it's just, I think, up to 2016. So okay. I went with another person to another polling station where that person's name should be, and again, that voters list was down. So I called the electoral office, and they indicated that, of course, elections have just been called, so the voters list will be out this week. I'm just hoping that they would be out either today or tomorrow, Tuesday, because Wednesday is polling nomination day, and according to the regulations as said by the supervisor of elections, any nominee, any candidate, on the candidates for each constituency, they would have to have two persons registered in that particular constituency who could endorse them.
Yes.
So these people need to know that they are registered and that their names are on the voters list. So I am, as I said, I'm hoping and expecting that the voters list will be out either today or tomorrow. That's one point. Second point.
Yes, go ahead.
I was very disturbed, to be quite honest, with all that we're hearing here, that given the particular role of the returning officer is the one who counts the votes. He's the one who presides over the votes at the time of voting. He would determine if anything is a bad vote or what have you. And why is it we have a family member of a prominent politician as the returning officer? If we want to convey the image of free and fair, yes, you will have people who will support you, but not somebody who is that close. It cannot give a view of free and fairness. That's my second point. My third point, and this is my final point. I was listening to our public radio station just now, said, and they usually have a program called Frank and Candid every day at 11 o'clock, where everybody can call in to speak on different things. And to my amazement, I heard one particular person. This is an individual. This is not a party. An individual on a campaign. I said, well, what is this coming? This is a public radio station. That's number one. So I thought at first, well, if they're going to allow, because of COVID, to have the parties, give their thing, then you might have one party. But this is an individual. Yes. Why would individual be given the space that normally you give to the public, to be able to give a campaign on the radio, public radio? So these are the things I would put forward that if we're talking about free and fair, to take from the legal kind of terminologies, you not only want it to be free and fair, it must appear to be free and fair. Otherwise, we are doing a disservice to our people here. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
I want to thank you for bringing those views and information to the public. There seem to be real concerns that you're expressing. One, you spoke about going to the polling stations, and the lists were not posted. You're hoping that by today they'll be posted so that interested parties can have insight as to where they'll be voting, the people who need to nominate the candidates, etc. And they said that they just called the election, so they're trying to put things in place. Hopefully by today, as you're hoping, those would be in place. In terms of what's at the other radio stations, I don't know, I can't speak to it, but I want to thank you once again for bringing those a bit of information to the public. At this point in time, before we take this call, we'll pause for the purpose of paying tribute to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan. Combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flow come combo.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause with Flow combo plan, you're paying less for more.
Flow got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta. Drink the real Fruta. Your favorite Fruta. The natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Okay, we're back on Voices. I want to thank my callers for keeping the commentary within the 5 minutes frame. I've got a call on the line. Brenda, give me 2 minutes. I'll reach out to you. Call you live on the Voices.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Henry. How about that? Pardon?
Mrs. Henry here. Tell me when my time is up.
Yes, we got 5 minutes, and thank you very much for observing that.
You know, anyway, good morning to all the listeners home and abroad, and I want to give God thanks for another day. Good morning, Gregory. I was becoming concerned about you. Because
Yes.
I haven't heard you for a while. Keep up the fight. Keep the faith. Now, to the gentleman who called about the students, I heard the Minister of Education giving an explanation. I don't remember which station. But what he was saying is that their plan was designed for students who are in need, who facing some difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
But what he discovered was a lot of fraud. In that students who had already graduated, some of them were already back home, had filed, and some overseas who had already graduated were working. And he even found some, he said, who had left here young, finished their schooling in the USA, went to college in the USA, graduated, and were filing. So I think he said that they had already paid about $51,000.
Okay.
And they had to stop. And they're going to continue because the system needs cleaning up. Now, this is what happens when you have people who are dishonest. It creates problems for others. So he was saying it is not he has been neglected. It's just that there's too much fraud going on.
Because the promise was made.
The promise was made to help students who are affected by the COVID. You understand?
Yes.
Not just students.
Okay.
Now, that's all. I don't know which station, I don't know if Win FM have the address. Now, the one about the remittances, we have to be careful, you know. While it concerns us of the amount that is going out, does the caller know the amount that comes in? Millions, you know?
The thing is, I can't get a chance to respond. The call will come in hot and heavy. But thank you. Please address
so
it.
he need to know that millions come in more than what goes out. And the people who are sending out, working in construction, and our people will not move into that direction. All right, then.
Thank you, Miss Henry. That was lovely. And there's another call on the line. Call your 11 voices.
Good day. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Good to hear your voice. Welcome to Voices.
Yes. You have to remember that Social Security funds are made up of contributions from individuals. And it's a bit harsh to refer to those who object to their contributions being used to assist non-contributors as self-righteous.
Okay, before you go too far, let me clarify something for you, okay? My position was and is still, this had nothing to do with the Social Security Fund. Should have had nothing to do with it. The Prime Minister said he's got X amount to assist all those affected by the COVID-19 up to 3 months in the first instance, $1,000 a month, all those who were registered as self-employed persons and who were affected. It had nothing to do or should have had nothing to do with the Social Security scheme. Because if in fact I did not contribute, I wasn't expecting anything from it. What I got the impression was this was a disaster relief fund. I don't know who or how, but it should have not been put through there for people to feel, well, you didn't contribute and you're coming to get from my contribution. That should have never been shaped that way.
So the original announcement, because the original announcement was that there were $15 million from Social Security that was going to go towards this. Wasn't that a fact? That was how it was originally announced. I mean, if they've changed it, well,
I would have missed that. My impression was this is a disaster. We are helping everybody. Whether that was my impression.
No. You see, that's the whole point, right? I am saying that the original announcement spoke to funds from the Social Security or controlled by Social Security or overseen by them or whatever. Okay, in which case, Social Security was not intended for that. Nobody was saying.
I'm in agreement with you.
And hold on, I asked the Prime Minister this several times, and he carried with the answer. He did not give a straight answer. The point he tried to deflect. Basically, he was saying that we should be held. Social Security was designed to do exactly what it was doing, right? So it's contradicting what you're saying. His initial defense was that the Social Security was designed for that. But the whole point was no one was saying that all these people should not be helped. Nobody was saying that. The question was, okay, the point that was being made was what has happened to the surplus after surplus? Why not use that instead of Social Security's resources to fund this? That was the question. Because the Social Security funds are not unlimited. Okay?
I'm in agreement with you.
You understand the point that was
I'm in agreement with you, yes.
Yes. And that was the whole point.
Okay.
And what it had done was expose the deception about surplus after surplus. If you have money, if you have cash there, you would think that you would go to that first before going to Social Security. And that was the point that was being made. Not that people shouldn't be helped. Everybody knows the situation, and everybody is expecting to be helped.
Yes.
Okay? But it's how you do it. And come up front and tell the people what's happening. And one last point. Do you know how someone's name gets removed from the voters list?
I think there's a process application that goes to the court. The people who go and make representation on behalf of the electoral board, there's somebody who represents the person and they will see if they are really registered in that particular constituency or whatever, and then they're removed. I think you have to go before a body and answer your name, give just reason why you should be on or not, and if you can't satisfy the question, then it's taken off.
Should be informed of this, right?
As I understand it, yes.
On the list?
As I understand it, because you have to represent yourself, have somebody represent you.
Right. Well, you see, And
I
is
did
why
say I
would
think.
agree
I don't know
with
for a
personally.
fact. I said I think, so don't hold me to that.
I would expect. I mean, because I would expect there is some kind of process.
Yeah, there's a process.
And you would expect that. That's why you say you believe that is that.
Correct.
There should be some kind of process. You don't just remove somebody's name off the list just like that. Okay? And the reason I ask is I know of a particular case that is close to me that has been done. And it is not they changed their address or they've died or anything like that. But the name just didn't appear on the
Has
list.
the person challenged it?
I couldn't understand how that could happen.
Has the person challenged it?
No, it has not been challenged.
Well, there you
But
have the
what
chance
I'm
to challenge it.
saying- Yes, of course. But what I'm saying is, how does that happen? How could anybody just go and take somebody's name off the list? Right? That's mind-boggling. I mean, if
There is a
if somebody
process.
knows,
There is
if
a
somebody knows
process.
how that is done, you could please tell me because I don't understand it.
There's a process, we know it, and there's a challenge. So the persons who've been affected, they've got the legal redress based on the Constitution or regulations to go
Yes,
to.
I know they would have legal redress, but how can somebody's name be just removed like that? No, and they don't know. It's only because somebody else checked for them and realized that it wasn't there. No change of address. The person hasn't died and nothing, and somebody's name is just removed. Something is seems very, very untoward there.
Well, I'm pretty sure it can be sorted. The person can challenge it and get the relevant information.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay then.
Thank you very much for being consistent within 5 minutes. And we have another call on the line. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes, Socrates.
Speaking.
Yeah, morning. I have something I just wanted to, I still trying to understand, right? You hear me?
Clearly, yeah.
Okay, good. This Social Security thing, originally you heard the government said that Social Security is making this one-time offer $50 million to assist, right? Was that clear? Right?
So I've been told, I'm not clear on that, but go ahead, make a point.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Now then you start hearing about people dipping their hand into Social Security and whatever. A few weeks ago, the director, Mr. Maynard, and Mr. Powell, the deputy director, they won with the Prime Minister on Saturday morning, explaining that the $50 million didn't come directly from the Social Security fund everybody talking about. It was some reserve fund.
That was put there.
Huh?
That was put there to assist.
It was a contribution they were making. So I keep hearing this thing about dipping a hand in Social Security and dipping, but I don't understand because the information was given. It was said that Social Security is making this $15 million available to be given out $1,000 for the next 3 months. Then when the roll started, then the director, Mr. Maynard, and Mr. Powell and the Prime Minister were on one Saturday. And the question was asked again, and they explained that the monies are from a fund, a special fund, and it do not in any way affect the Social Security funds. So I keep hearing about the dipping your hand and how the Social Security money is not for that.
I am glad you called to lend clarity to that.
No, but listen, the information, these guys, I guess everybody have their agenda, and you know what I mean? But they listen to the radio all the time because they call in and make their comments, they call in and give their contributions. And I don't think that they didn't hear.
And I'm glad that you're there to call and counter because, as you say, some people
I'm not
listen.
countering, I just saying that was the information I was given. I'm not trying to counter anybody, but I just find it ridiculous. And you keep hearing that they dip in their hand and Social Security and why did they reserve? Social Security made it clear. The government said that Social Security was given this $15 million as a package to benefit the persons who were affected by COVID.
Okay.
So I really trying. I don't know. I'm trying to understand.
That was a very wonderful one. I want to give a shout out to Ms. Brenda O'Neill up there in Pittsburgh. She's a friend of the Federation. We have another caller right in line. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes, good day.
Good day, sir.
I don't know if I can engage with a question or two, but census in St. Kitts Nevis, do you know what time that was?
No, sir, I'm not able to. The last census, you're asking when was the last one taken? If I'm aware of it? No, I'm not.
No, okay. But let's give a take. You think we have less than 60,000 people in St. Kitts Nevis, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. A stimulus package of $120 million. That's a lot of money, you would agree, right?
Depends on how we break it down.
Well, okay. So if we're going to give 60,000 people $1 million each, we would still have left in the kitty $60 million. Would you agree? If we do simple math.
Simple math, yes.
Right. So why would the government go into the coffers of Social Security to solicit funds to help people? Let's say just 4,000 people, 4,000 who were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Why would they have to go in there, start with $1,000 or up to $1,000 and still give people less when there should be this package, stimulus package of $120 million? And I'm saying it again. If you have to give 4,000 people who are affected $1 million each, not 1,000, you still have a lot of money in the coffers. I mean, are somebody trying to fool somebody here? I mean, let's get it. Let's be real. Let's be real. Something is wrong with that picture. It is blurry. Okay, I'll move on. We are having lockdowns. I know it's been released, and there's some relief. Why wait until Friday to tell persons on Saturday and Sunday you're going to be out of the pen? Aren't you looking for the person who, let's say, would have gone on a Wednesday to buy something for their home, but they can sell some nuts? So they say, listen, if I spend $5 and buy some nuts, I can make a profit of $20. If I only know that Saturday I can go on the sidewalk and sell something. But because I know I'm going to lock down.
Yes, that point has been raised and well taken, so I get your point, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. But anyway, so we got that. That's out of the way. Now, can I move on to Sam Kanda? I'm trying to use up my little 2 minutes here.
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Minister.
I can talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
If Mr. Kanda, 5 years ago, said that he's in solidarity with the Prime Minister, and he's saying because the Labour Party then would have had some missteps. But in my estimation, the Prime Minister clearly stated to Mr. Douglas, according to them, that he wanted to be the Prime Minister and Mr. Douglas should hand over the Prime Ministership to him. I think that was wrong. But it was clearly he wanted that. So for whatever reason, Mr. Kondo followed him. He spent 5 years with him. Now he realized that whatever should have been accomplished or what was promised was not being done.
Are you speaking to Mr. Kondo's motive for what he did? You said now he realized. Did he tell you that?
Okay, in my opinion.
In your opinion?
Yes. He realized that when he can compare both leaders because remember, he was the deputy. Mr. Timothy Harris, in his capacity, was a senior minister. So he has seen him now as a leader, and he has now got a chance to compare both leaders, and especially in this COVID-19 pandemic. Going forward, he's clearly stating on behalf of St. Kitts, this is what I'm getting now, not on behalf of Dr. Douglas, no.
Because I'm listening. Because
right.
I heard
he was on the part of Dr. Timothy Harris. I heard his speech, and he's saying, no, I am on the path of St. Kitts, and I think that Dr. Douglas has the know-how and the contacts or what have you.
Is that what Sam said?
Yes, I heard him in an interview saying that he has the better contacts to take the country forward. But he clearly stated, I am supporting the persons. He said that.
Okay, your clock is ticking. Your clock is ticking. Well, go ahead.
Okay. According to him, yes, they are in parties, but he's looking at the individuals that are working on the party, and he feels like the better party is the one that Dr. Dennis Douglas is heading.
Which is an opinion he's entitled to.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I am saying now, I think that people should respect his opinion.
And for everyone
They don't
who
have to agree-
stands
they don't
with
have to
you,
agree
you're going to
with
have 10 that disagree with you.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just asking for a little bit of respect because people wanted to kill him, which I didn't agree with. Don't kill him then. Then he stepped over.
We
So I use the word
we
kill, but-
emote in many different ways, but we are very responsible and sensible people. So I won't really don't kill him and no.
No. When is a kill? I mean, okay, I'm using a strong word, but I don't mean literally. I just mean people would have taken a turn on him because he would have supported the PLP.
That's part of the course.
Right, exactly. So I'm just asking, that people just understand that people can change. Dr. Harris did change too.
Yeah, he impressed
left.
me because he came and he apologized to the public for past performances, and he got me by that.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, we're in what they call a silly season, and this is politicking. We expect all kind of stuff like that, right? The thing is to not to lose our humanity, right?
Okay.
Stay cool,
One last
calm,
point,
stay focused.
quickly, in
Yes,
30
quickly.
seconds. I do not believe that anybody in this whole wide world can work 2 full-time jobs. And I think what the CCM party are doing over with Nevis, trying to take the NIA, who has a full-time 24-hour job, to maneuver, bring ideas, take care of Nevis, should be coming down to say they can look after St. Kitts and Nevis. Because people are getting it wrong. When you are a federal minister, you are looking after St. Kitts and Nevis. So those 3 people who are looking after Nevis solely, because they got in there by an election, they cannot now tell me they have enough time to look after Nevis by itself because they have
Did it work in the past?
their own government. And then come down to say,
Did
I
it
can
work
look after
in the
St.
past?
No, it has never worked.
It hasn't
It's
worked.
fraudulent. It has never worked in the past.
Okay.
Never.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution. And we have another caller live on the line. Caller, you live on Voices.
Socrates.
Lovely hearing your
morning.
voice. I know COVID did not defeat you, but I'm happy to hear your voice. Talk to me.
Yes, and let me say morning to all the listeners.
They miss your voice.
Let me. The last caller. The individual is supposed to attack. He's supposed to attack the system. The system allows the people of Nevis to do that.
Exactly.
Right. So under the individual, anybody can go in there and do that. So the system. So change the system, and then the argument done. But as long as the system in place,
Allows for it.
and that's the way you're going to be.
I asked him, did it work in the past? Because for the past going back, 20-something years? That's been the policy.
Yeah, if as long as the system, okay, then let me be pertaining to the Social Security. Me listen to the program when Dr. Harris and the other 2 guys were there from Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that me write with where he said that he listened to the program, and the guy for Social Security said that
Mr. Maynard?
the regular money that's inside the Social Security, that they not touch. But then he got one caller from overseas, regular. He try now to find out, where the money come from. If you come from one special fund or if you come from the stimulus, and the question there was never answer.
Okay.
You get the point?
Mm-hmm.
So now he left your
Left to
hanging
speculation.
away.
It's left for speculation.
I don't say that the money in a Social Security. I got it, and it give three agreements how the money in the Social Security supposed to spend out. But he said the money in our touch, right? But the caller can't, me get the answer the first. I say call back again and he find out. Even suggest the money come from a stimulus package, and then put them in the Social Security. So then Social Security, but it was never answered.
I never believe it was designed for Social Security to be paying out these stimulus package. That's not the impression I got. And that is why my argument it had nothing to do with them. But I just said the person tried to get the information and the PM didn't give it, so it was left for speculation.
Exactly.
Exactly. And one lady called and very nice voice, talking about the free and fair election. And then we talk about the program that cut out from ZIZ. Well,
yes.
That me advertise right here on Win FM from 11 to 12.
So is a paid program then?
Yeah, paid program, yeah.
Okay.
And you can't call him a Carlton Dupan.
I know.
Exactly, yeah. So, right. So, was advertised. And now, let me done now, is the free and the fair election. This time around, St. This will never get a free and fair election. You're under one state of emergency. So that alone cut out the free and the fair election. All right?
I hear you.
Saturday, two Team Unity members me from the last program, Mr. Bacchus, they asked for an answer that will take somebody to heaven. Well, one conveniently did not answer. He used the thing for occupy time.
But here's what.
Somebody go on and paint up people's house and so on. And that is wrong.
Here's what. I saw a couple of the houses, but here's what. You've taken us up to the cusp of the midday news.
No problem, no problem.
So I know you know how to get back in after the lunch interlude. So have yourself a wonderful one. And I want to thank all our callers who were on the line this morning for the first segment of Voices. We'll be right back after the midday news and notices. So thank you. I'll count about Davis. See you on the other side.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first
purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults. It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Foreign Affairs Minister Mark Brantley, who is responsible for the Federation's diplomats, has confirmed receiving Ambassador Sam Conder's letter of resignation. Conder was the St. Kitts and Nevis ambassador to the United Nations.
My office has received the resignation of His Excellency Sam Conder, who hitherto held the position of ambassador to the United Nations at our UN mission in New York. I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Sam Conder for his service to his country and for advancing the diplomatic interests of St. Kitts and Nevis during his stint as our ambassador to the United Nations. I take this opportunity also to wish him all the very best in his future endeavors and to wish him God's continued blessings.
Sam Conder, at a press conference Thursday, said he was moving away from the Team Unity coalition he helped form some 5 years ago and was returning to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Conder said he was disappointed that the government had failed to give priority to the electoral promise the coalition made to implement its good governance agenda.
As a nation, we have also had several opportunities in the past to usher in true democracy, stability, harmony, and prosperity. But alas, we have come up short. We are yet to consecrate these ideas with good governance systems that will give assurance, hope, and guidance for the future of the next generation, thereby not condemning them to repeat the missteps of the past. Another such defining moment approaches. One must say looms ahead.
As WinFM has been reporting, the Sam Conder decision has met with mixed reaction.
Well, I believe that everybody has the right to do as they please, but if you're interested in credibility, you got to be worried about the actions of the man. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't want to be swayed here and there, and the reasons given don't quite satisfy any right-thinking person, because if you have issues with one party for 4 years and the party that you stand up in court and condemn, to be able to now come and say that the people that you condemned just a few months ago for such ill will and confusion that you claim they create, to be able to now say that because of some unexplained, in my view, not very well explained reason you're leaving and you're going back to them is smacks of some hypocrisy, and even though you have the right to decide what you want to decide.
He do it a little too late, but he's a good movie make, so everybody could know that the guy on the other side, that the man with the takeout was better than the man with the put in. So I believe Sam Conder, he made a good choice.
Commentator Patrick Martin says he is concerned about what he describes as the weaponization of COVID-19. The former chief medical officer, in his latest commentary, is suggesting that the pandemic has been politicized for political gain in the Federation.
Ordinarily, personal profit is never the purpose of public health measures. But these are extraordinary times. Prime example is the use of COVID-19 as a cover to suspend fundamental freedoms and protections during an election period. This weaponization of the coronavirus also includes fear-mongering at briefings and in addresses. The listener is pointed to despair and death
in worse affected countries, then taken on a journey of horror, telling of danger lurking under every grain of sand or blade of grass. The virus is depicted like a venomous snake that strikes and kills without discrimination. After the stoking of fear comes a clever, soothing reassurance that advisors and authorities are acting selflessly to keep the population safe. If such altruism is true, then all official statements and actions should conform to science. For starters, the majority of affected persons have mild symptoms or no symptoms. In every country, the recovery rate is much higher than the death rate. These and other facts call for balance in the briefings, which is psychologically beneficial.
Dr. Martin concedes that the declaration of a state of emergency was essential to facilitate prevention and control measures. However, he argues that with the first virus wave contained, the need for extreme measures has evaporated. A critic of the Team Unity administration, Patrick Martin is appealing for free and fair elections in a situation where the national poll is being held under a state of emergency.
Citizens are accustomed to free and fair elections contested on a level playing field. Voters reserve the right to change their support, and the power of social media, first unleashed in the 2015 elections, is pervasive. Time will soon reveal how voters regard unfair and obsolete boundaries, hand-picked electoral officers, ruled by cabinet decree, and general fear-mongering, among other things. To my mind, it is irrational to seek to turn back the clock to Massa Day. I am persuaded that the continuing suspension of hard-won constitutional entitlements is for political advantage and cannot stand. In that regard, the weaponization of COVID-19 is entirely unethical.
The police are sending a strong warning to drivers that the LED lights on vehicles are unacceptable and penalties will be instituted for those found culpable of breaching regulations. Traffic Inspector Philip Eddy revealed that the Traffic Department has already started ticketing offenders.
Definitely, we have started ticketing, a number of vehicles. Anybody we actually see, I have gotten tickets. So definitely we are enforcing that section of the law.
Okay.
All the law stipulates that, the lights should be white, 2 white lamps to the front. You understand? He didn't say neon colors.
That was one of several topics discussed by the inspector on Monday, including the concern of lights being used by drivers for their vehicle indicators.
What are the colors are supposed to be for the front lights? I'm now having a problem where many persons have white indicator lights at the front. So sometimes you see a vehicle coming and you're not certain if that person is indicating a turn.
Yes.
They are now using the LED lights in the rear, the flashing brake lights, which are very dangerous at night. Those lights actually partially blind you because they're so bright at night. Is there any regulation? Is there anything being done about that? Because everybody is just following the trend.
The Traffic Department, along with a number of police in different regions and areas, are enforcing that piece of legislation that we have. The lights to the front should be white. It didn't say neon colors. The indicator should be orange. The brake light should be red. No light to the back, to the sides to indicate. It should be white. You understand? Must be orange to indicate you had an amber light. You understand me? To indicate that you're going left or you're going right. You have the brake light. But as I say, as the caller just rightly said, everybody following fashion. You see? And when you follow fashion, that is how you're going to feel it in your pocket because you're going to get a ticket. and there wouldn't be no remorse
All
if
right.
you are being caught, using these lights. Because I cannot see you get a vehicle. The vehicle has the correct lighting. You're actually changing the lights for fashion. I cannot see. I don't see the reason in that.
Drivers continue to raise concern over vehicles having their registration numbers at the side instead of the front or back.
This is in chapter 15.06, regulation 4. But, each plate must be rectangular and be upon it the index mark of the letter PPA, except in the case of a public service vehicle in respect of which the index mark shall be the letter H, HA, RRA, T, RTA, and the separate number assigned, and to the motor vehicle to the licensing officer, and to the index mark and then the number shall be arranged in conformity with the arrangement of the letters and figures as shown on the diagram, and as directed by the following paragraph of the schedule. Say 2. Letters and figures must be white. The ground of the plate must be black, except in the case of public service vehicles, when it must be green. Our letters and figures must be 3.5 inches high.
Meanwhile, Mr. Eddy confirmed that police have so far recorded over 20 accidents in the Bastille area for the month of May.
Candidates from the 5 political parties, the People's Action Movement, PAM, St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, SKNLP, the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, and the People's Labour Party, and perhaps independent candidates, are up for nominations on Wednesday, 27th May. Candidates must be nominated by at least 2 registered voters of the constituency in which they seek election. A deposit of $150 is also required. Voters for the June 5th election are those registered to vote as of March 31, 2020. The number of registered voters stands at 45,000.
The register of voters for this election consists of the persons who were registered to vote as of March 31st, 2020. This is in accordance with Section 51, subsections 1 and 2 of the National Assembly Elections Act, which indicates that the register should include the last publishable revised monthly list. The date of the poll being June 5th mean that the registrants for March, having passed the public scrutiny and is publishable by between the 15th and 31st of May, are the last set of registrants that will be added to the register and thus become eligible to vote. Put another way, registrants on the annual register plus those who were registered in December through to March are eligible to vote. There are over 45,000 persons on the register, and I will provide the breakdown in due course.
Supervisor of Elections Elvin Bailey said details about polling stations would be published shortly.
Due to these numbers and based on the requirements for COVID-19, adjustments have had to be made to some of the polling stations. The sites of these stations will be made available soon and will be posted in conspicuous places per district and in newspapers. Please pay attention to ensure that you know where your polling station is. I am encouraged that the public is already examining the register to ensure their names are registered and for where. I urge them to continue to do so. These registers will shortly be displayed in the public domain and at the electoral offices in Charlestown and in Bastille. Almost 130 polling stations have been established to accommodate voters. For ease of these voters, every effort has been made to keep each station at around 450 or so voters. Again, a list of the stations and voters assigned will be published in the local newspapers and displayed at the public buildings in each district.
The defacing of private homes and other property and allegations that an opposition motorcade was stopped by security forces on the COVID-19 regulations are making the rounds on social media and attracting heated public debate. The Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the People's Action Movement, Mr. Sean Richards, is confirming that a number of buildings have been defaced in his constituency.
As leader of the People's Action Movement and a candidate in this election, I want to know what his thoughts are on supporters and even candidates defacing the property of opposition supporters.
The caller is Cindy Deming, that she is calling against the backdrop that sometime during the course of last night, quite a number of homes in Sandy Point were defaced. Someone took paint and wrote the word PAM on quite a number of properties in Sandy Point. Not just properties, but my constituency office, the very same thing. The Hard Court, the very same thing. The bars, well, at least one of the bar at the Sandy Point Recreation Ground. I'm trying to remember where else. I know the police have been investigating this particular incident. I personally, I don't know the motive behind it. Perhaps it is the opposition maybe looking attention. I don't know the motive, but I'm waiting to see because I believe there is a more sinister plan behind of it. I would, however, want to say to my supporters that as best as possible, do not become troubled, do not get yourself in any confusion over this matter. Maybe the pressure is too much for some persons, and so this is what persons have resorted to doing in Sandy Point.
Mr. Richards told Win FM 98.9 that about 20 homes in the area were affected. Police investigations into the incident were ongoing at Newstime Sunday. On Thursday, Police Commissioner Hilroy Brandy warned political parties that acting on the advice of public health authorities that motorcades, processions and public meetings are not allowed at this time. The commissioner said permission would not be given to any individual, group or political party to have such events. Notwithstanding this, on several occasions, I have had to send officers to stop several efforts to have motorcades. In some instances, the activity was already underway, and we've had to bring them to a halt. This is unacceptable. It is important for members of the public to know what is allowed and what is not allowed at this time, so they can make informed decisions, Commissioner Brandy said Thursday. We are now just a few days away from Nominations Day on the 27th of May. Polling Day is less than 2 weeks away on the 5th of June. But are we any closer to politicians in St. Kitts and Nevis actually facing each other in live debates on election issues? The leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Denzel Douglas, a guest on Win FM's weekend special Inside the News, hosted by Gart Wilkin, threw out this challenge to Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris.
Please facilitate a debate between myself and Prime Minister Harris. Please, Win FM, I want you to organize that. Organize it over the next 12 days that we have.
Dr. Douglas, as chairman of Win FM, I promise you that I will write a letter to yourself and Dr. Harris to see if we can facilitate
Please,
a debate.
anytime. I challenge him to a debate. Because people, I believe, trust me.
But Dr. Douglas,
do not trust Harris.
Dr. Douglas, not to cut you off, but you have to understand that there are a lot of people in this country, right, that say, if you were the type of person to want a debate, when the other side was in opposition and you were in government and they were pushing for debates, you didn't give them. Why do you want now?
I don't believe at any time anyone challenged me to a debate when I was Prime Minister. They were all afraid of me. None wanted to debate me. I mean, I want to be very, very frank. None of them wanted to debate me. And that is why I'm putting out the challenge.
Dr. Denzel Douglas on the first segment of Inside the News on Saturday. In the final segment of that program, Ambassador John Powell, chairman of the People's Action Movement and candidate for constituency number 2, challenged the incumbent representative for the area, Ms. Marcella Liburd, the deputy political leader of the SKNLP to a debate.
I listened attentively to the show earlier today, and I realized that when Dr. Douglas and the Honorable Marcella Liebert were here, Dr. Douglas spoke on the issue of a debate. I want to remind the people of this country, the people of Central Bastia, and the Honorable Marcella Liebert, that 5 years ago, I challenged her to a debate on the issues affecting the residents of Central Bastia. She boasted that she tore up the letter. She never showed to the debate. So if we want to discuss debates, I want to use this opportunity to once again challenge the Honorable Marcella Liebert to have a debate. Come and debate me on the issues affecting the constituents of Central Bastia.
Acting leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Kelvin Daly, is the latest to sound the alarm on elections being held under a state of emergency. While sharing his views on the upcoming elections and his party's chances, the deputy leader says the incumbent has the upper hand under the SOE.
It is unfair. Of course it's unfair, because if you're going up against an incumbent government, as parliamentarians in that incumbent government, they have free reign. They can go out on days that we are locked in. They can go beyond the hours while we are locked in. They can do things that we could never do. And so they have a much more easier time in marketing themselves, in promoting themselves, doing the house-to-house campaigning, doing the functions, everything like that. It's inherently unfair. And, you know, when the government was even trying to extend it to a year, I mean, I was like, what is going on in this country? Even 6 months was really abnormal, you know, because if you look through the region, most countries were going into a state of emergency for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We in St. Kitts and Nevis took it into the stratosphere and said 6 months. 6 months.
A similar position was articulated by attorney at law and former chairman of the People's Action Movement, Chesley Hamilton, on a recent edition of WinFM's Voices program.
What is the emergency that we are under? COVID. We have nobody in hospital, or everybody has recovered. So therefore, we are going forward. What are the ground rules and the protocol to go forward? How could we assemble? How could we be associated? How could we express our views? If my views are contrary to how the government is conducting this, I could be charged with expression that is against public order.
Meanwhile, Daly suggests that the final issues for polling day have not been fully worked out.
Now you have a situation where the logistics of the voting has not even been worked out. They're saying that parties need to provide face masks. So where are we going to find the face masks so our voters can go into the poll? If they're going to put those kind of restrictions, then they need to provide the material necessary for our voters to go into the polling station. These are kind of things that the kind of got you kind of thing, you know, and it's really a disenfranchisement of the vote in public view, in plain sight. And I do not support this. They need to lift the state of emergency so persons can freely vote, you know, because listen, how long, when was the last case of COVID, confirmed case of COVID? We don't even have anybody in quarantine except Mr. Hector is somewhere in St. Kitts and probably one other person, so one or two people coming out on the 2nd of June.
Daly will come up against Mark Brantley for the Nevis 9 seat on Elections Day, which is June 5th.
For Choice News Now, Nalcia Shalmine reporting. Several have been outraged over news that persons who applied for salary support under the Economic Relief Program by the National Insurance Corporation have, in some instances, received as little as $17. Other low figures floating around social media include payments of $20 and $50. But why are such low amounts being paid out? Is it an issue of miscommunication from the NIC or an issue of misunderstanding by the applicants? We spoke to the communications officer of the NIC to find out more.
The National Insurance Corporation is paying 50% of insurable earnings. That is salary amount on contributions, the salary amount that contributions are levied on. This is subject to a minimum payout of $500 and a maximum payout of $1,500 monthly to persons out of work as a result of COVID-19. Simply put, A person who earns less than $1,000 would receive $500. A person with a monthly salary of $1,001 and $2,999 inclusive would receive 50% of salary. A person whose monthly salary is $3,000 and above would receive $1,500. In all cases, the amount payable by the NIC will be reduced by any amount you receive in financial assistance or income from your employer or an entity related to your employer during the month that you are claiming for.
Auguste Alexander says that there are several instances where an employer would have paid some sort of salary to the employee, including vacation pay.
If somebody whose entitlement would have been $1,500 and this person was on vacation and received vacation pay in the month that they're claiming for, which amounted to $1,000, NIC would pay them the difference, which is $500. Note, what NIC is paying for persons who are getting less than what they expected, it is their full entitlement from NIC minus any contributions, any amounts, any vacation pay, any stipend, any reduced salary, any amount that was paid by the employer, we would pay the difference.
Auguste Alexander says that applicants should keep in mind that the ERP is not a salary replacement, but instead a supplement to your salary. So why do so many applicants seem confused by the low amounts paid out to them?
Well, from our press release, our very first press release dated the 9th of April, it stated exactly how it would have been calculated. Initially, it was only for persons who receive $0 and 0 cents. However, at the NIC, we recognize that all our contributors are affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. So we're trying to assist. This is income support, not income replacement for our contributors. And we're really here to support our contributors financially. So persons who would have received any amount from the employer, their full entitlement, minus that, they would get the balance. But like I said, that's only for the month that they receive that amount. The subsequent month, their circumstances would have changed. They would have received nothing from their employer. NIC would give them their full entitlements.
Following the explanations from Auguste Alexander, the communications manager at the National Insurance Corporation says that when filling out the ERP form, applicants would have had to indicate whether they will receive any assistance from the employer. The manager also added that persons have been continuously directed to the NIC's website, where frequently asked questions are answered. However, several have commented that all persons are not as technologically savvy and that perhaps more diverse communication strategies need to be implemented to ensure that all applicants receive a proper understanding of the payment process. For Choice News Now, Nalcia Shalmine reporting.
This is Al Jazeera.
India has resumed domestic flights, with the government eager to get Asia's third largest economy moving again. On the same day, though, it announced its biggest jump yet in new coronavirus infections, almost 7,000. Our India correspondent Elizabeth Paranam reports from New Delhi.
It is the new normal at Indian airports. Staff sanitize passengers' bags before they enter the terminal. The disinfectant spray is just one of a number of new measures as domestic flights resumed. Passengers' temperatures are checked before and after flying. Masks are compulsory throughout the journey, and some were taking extra precautions.
Coronavirus is very dangerous. We have to accept it, and we have to take all those measures which government is asking us to do.
The government says only passengers with symptoms will be tested or quarantined upon arrival, but many states have set their own rules. The Civil Aviation Minister tweeted, "Indians soar in the skies again, but not everything went to plan."
82 flights in and out of Delhi were cancelled with little notice, leaving passengers frustrated. According to airport officials, that's because several states said they wouldn't be able to accept flights which they'd earlier agreed to.
With the number of coronavirus cases rising, the worst-hit states of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu have agreed to only allow 25 arrivals a day after initially refusing to accept flights. The state of West Bengal said flights can't land for another 3 days as it deals with the aftermath of Cyclone Amphan.
We just heard that my flight has been cancelled. I didn't get any notification, I didn't get any mails. I just heard it in the airport, so I'm heading back home.
Airlines are planning to resume about a third of their domestic flights as the government tries to restart the world's fifth largest economy. But the industry faces challenges. The Supreme Court has ordered social distancing must be observed in airports and on flights, forcing airlines to keep middle seats vacant. And it said the government should be more worried about the health of citizens rather than the health of airlines. Elizabeth Puranam, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Spain is hoping to revive its battered tourism industry by lifting its 2-week quarantine rule for foreign tourists from July 1st, just in time for the summer holidays. The decision follows the reopening of restaurants and cafes on Monday. People can also go to hotels and museums in Barcelona as part of the government's phased approach to easing virus restrictions. Spain has been hard hit by the pandemic, recording nearly 29,000 deaths. Let's speak now to aviation analyst Alex Materas, who joins us on Skype from here in Doha. Thank you for your time as always, Alex. Aside from gloves and masks, what can airlines do and what should they be doing to prevent the spread of coronavirus on planes, which are obviously very confined spaces?
Well, I think what passengers will begin to notice as we kind of return to the skies in a very slow and gradual, measured manner is there will be a whole bunch of inconsistencies. And that is because countries have taken it upon themselves, and also airlines have taken it upon themselves, to implement these new measures as they try to restore travel confidence and get you, the passenger, back into the skies. And that means air travel is likely to be a very different experience depending on where you're traveling to, for example, which airline you are traveling with, where that airline belongs to. I'll give you a few examples. For example, if you are flying here in the Middle East from Doha on a Middle Eastern carrier, you'd expect to see the cabin crew in full PPE, probably PPE that some countries' hospitals could only dream of in terms of the level of standard and the amount that they are wearing. And yet, if we shift across to Europe, there are still some airlines with no mask policy in place, and their crew are still operating 12-hour flights with no PPE. Even if they have it, they're simply choosing not to amid the lack of any clear universal rules either for that country or for the globe. So inconsistency is going to be the key. And for passengers, that's a lot of uncertainty because they will not know what to expect as we try to slowly start to return to the skies as lockdowns begin to ease.
That was the WinFM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at
or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
This is your local weather forecast brought to you by Sweet Cane. Local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, 26th May. Synopsis: a slack pressure gradient is expected to reduce winds across the area today. Light winds coupled with the dominating dry and stable conditions will keep shower activity at a minimum. Today's weather mostly sunny. Tonight's weather partly cloudy with a 30% or a low chance of showers. Winds are southeast at 11 to 26 kilometers or 6 to 14 knots. Seas not exceeding 1.2 meters or 4 feet. Today's sunset 6:39 p.m. and tomorrow's sunrise 5:36 a.m. This has been your local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow. Brought to you by Sweet Cane.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts. With the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Horseman's. Get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Yes, pay zero VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horseman's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Don't miss it. It's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
Once again, good afternoon. Welcome to the second segment of Voices. Reaching out to all our listeners via the radio and those viewing via the internet stream. We had a call I had a call in the interim about a person trying to get in on the New York lines. So the lines are open. You're free to call and make your contribution. Another beautiful Monday in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. My name is Socrates. Sylvester is segment of Voices. And we have a call as we speak. Call your live in Voices.
Good afternoon, Socrates. It's King Sweeney, Dr. Sweeney.
Dr. Calypsonian King Sweeney, welcome to the Airways of Voices. How are you, sir?
I am peaceful, actually calling you to New Jersey.
Jersey?
New Jersey.
I thought it was Jersey.
No, New Jersey. And I'm here and I'm listening to your program. I've been listening to the program, good program from the start of the program, and I'm beginning to wonder when I call in if we're talking about the same St. Kitts and Nevis where we campaigned 5 years ago on corruption, electoral fraud, losing our visa to Canada, the motion of no confidence, and even the land for debt. So when I hear people refer to the Labour Party about good governance and fair elections, it really got me wondering, because what has changed with the leadership of that party so that we can now be talking about having a history of free elections? 5 years ago, that was the topic of our discussion, and the people made a ruling on it. And today, we're not only seeing development, but we have seen crime lowest level. And if just for that alone, team unity should be complemented. I also heard the regular caller call surplus, and the government having surplus and questioning whether or not they do have surplus. Here's the problem. He wants Dr. Timothy to spend every cent of the surplus and get back into a $3 billion debt like the previous government did. The good doctor is using all the resources of the country, tapping into everything. They made the point very clear that the Social Security was not coming from regular funds. And look at the situation. No taxes coming in, but the government is moving out to help everybody. I didn't hear any voices at all when $40 million went from the Social Security in haircut, or $30 million was given to the friends of the good Dr. Douglas. So my point is that if Social Security through a special fund is helping the small man, the worker, that to me is money well spent. And the final point I want to make, apart from term limits for the Prime Minister, which the opposition failed to support, how are we looking around the world and having access to all this information, understanding that almost 100,000 people have died in the United States? How are we still criticizing the... Hello?
Alone, in the U.S. alone.
In the U.S. alone. I mean, how are we still criticizing the government about state of emergency and keeping the country closed? In fact, you know, these people should be thanking the government that they are in a position today to be able to make that criticism. So my position is pretty simple. Elections are binary choices. Is Team Unity perfect? Absolutely not. Do I have any concerns with Team Unity? Oh, yeah. But what is the alternative? How has
the question
in Dr. Douglas changed? And that's the big question I have.
That is the question.
I mean, I was asked to comment Sam's position. I think Sam has the right to move away from Team Unity if he had concerns. I've had numerous conversations with Sam, and yes, he has concerns, but he has the right to move away from Unity.
And I have no issue with that.
My question, what has changed in Dr. Douglas in the last 5 years? The answer is nothing, and they belong exactly in the opposition. 5 more years for Team Unity, one good term deserves another. Keep up the good work, my brother, and thanks for the opportunity to make my contribution.
Most certainly, and that's one, I don't want to use the adjective, but that's quite an endorsement. And right on the heels of Dr. Sweeney, there's another caller. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm okay.
Okay, you're back.
I didn't really want to, but listen, whether Labour, whether Labour, whether Unity, whether CCM, whether NRP, we are all the same. When I look at those who go in, they look just like me. And if we cannot get it right by now, chances are we may not get it again. The thing about it is, right, let us be fair and honest to the times. When under Douglas Labour, as they say. Remember Mr. Hart of that administration. Remember a lot of the things that people cried out against. Mr. Harris was one there in Parliament who voted in favor. If you all have to go back to 2004, 2010, go back to the stats of the election, he was losing or he lost support because persons were wondering what is happening, and he is not there representing his people or his constituents the way that he should. Nonetheless, he has done some things too in his life. He came and he apologized. But you all need to remember and be fair. If all of those corruptions and all of those things that people spoke out against Douglas, remember these here got in on change. They said they are going to change. Like I always say, I do not expect perfection. They are going to change these things. That is the reason why they got in, regardless of how are you going to put it. The roof, the roads, and all of those things, good, but that is expected under any administration in a democracy, right? Any of those are just maintenance stuff and so on.
But people tend to compare performances.
Sorry?
People tend to look and compare performances. I understand what you're saying about the promises that may not have been kept, but people compare performances, and I think a lot of folks are basing their decisions to vote based on those comparisons.
Yes, but look at it too. A lot of these things happen under the Labour administration with Douglas too. Okay? So people cannot look at one. I try to be balanced. People cannot just look at one and ignore the other. It happened under Douglas too. And if one has to talk about the houses, you had more houses under Douglas Labour. I'm not here to promote him. Okay? But let us be honest to historical facts or truths. Now, if persons say, listen, I put you there for this, and they turn around and they say, listen, you're not, what do you expect? And there are people who have the right to change their mind. If a woman is in a relationship and she's been beaten up by her husband, and somebody come along and promise to treat her better, and she leave him, and she goes and she get worse treatment. Don't some of them run? And sometimes they all want to repent. Okay? Everybody gets a chance. The fact of the matter is people cannot run away from it. The policies people are looking at, this is not about Denzel Douglas, it's not about Timothy Harris, it's not about CCM or NRP, it's about the policies. People are tired. People in this federation want to reach to a place where the future can be, let me say, fairly secure, you know, and a good future is paid for their children. We don't expect things to get better going down, yes, because, I mean, the people believe that there is a God and things on this earth, this place will end at some point.
Isn't that what all the parties are promising?
Sorry?
Isn't that what all the parties are promising? A safe and secure future?
Yes, but remember,
2015, yes.
Persons say they don't want it anymore. And the people were promised, this is what we are going to do. Give us the chance in there. The first
Comes on the choices,
office,
yes.
integrity in public life. And what I am saying, some of these very same ones who cried out, they are the ones who are not really holding unity's feet to the fire. And I always say, if you love your country and you love your representative, you should be the first one to tell them, hey, look, you're going off track. I always say, if I am wrong, tell me. You can't tell me that you are my friend and you see me going wrong and you don't help me. You are not my friend. I may not like it, so to speak. Somebody else may not like it. But you as a friend have that duty and obligation to say, hey, look, you're going off track. You can't say you come supporting me, telling me, oh, you're right because of what you're getting from me. You're not helping me. You're not helping me. And this is how I see it. If you love your party, you are the one who should do everything to make your party look good. If you love your country, you do what you have to do to make your country look good. You don't say right when it is wrong because of what you're getting. No. And what I am saying, regardless to what, they will have to accept the responsibility or be held accountable for what was refused to be done. So coming talking about roads and roof and all of that, fine, that has its part to play. But I don't think that should be the determining factor right now.
Well,
Okay?
sometimes optics...
And
Go ahead.
Mr. Harris, he got chances. And in the context of unity, people really expected it to work. People really wanted unity to work in that area. But I'm just saying, eh?
And you're saying that it hasn't worked?
Hmm?
Are you saying that it hasn't worked?
Mr. Moderator, why that question?
You're saying people expected it to work. So I'm asking if you're saying that it hasn't worked.
If it hasn't worked?
Yes, you said team unity. People expected it to work. There are those who tell you that it works, so it comes down to optics, comes down to personal perceptions.
Well, what I am saying, you have to go back to how they got in, why they got in. Couldn't it have worked? And what I'm saying, if persons know they cannot keep to these promises, don't make mention of them. Because good governance, like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's Labour or Unity or somebody else. Because parties come and parties go. But there must be a framework. We're tired of going around in this circle. There needs to be a framework to hold whomsoever is in accountable. We're tired of all of this going in and people just turn back. People say what they want just to get in. And when they get in, they do what they want. The people are the ones who are responsible to ensure that these things come to fruition.
Okay.
But then again, like I said, there's some people, they only want to change because they want to change for themselves. It's not about country. I'm telling you. Because people who is about country, it's a sacrifice. You won't go out there looking for this and looking for that. You will do your best to get your country going. And you will go and you will work hard every day by the sweat of your brow. You want to go and look for a handout. You want to go and ask for this. You want to go and ask for that. And I'm not saying that representatives are not there to help in the case that people are down and out. But leave that for real emergencies.
Okay, I've got you. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm trying to keep within the 5 minutes time frame.
Sorry?
I don't want to cut you, but I'm trying to keep callers to the 5 minutes. And
No problem. I'm going to go just now.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you for your contribution. We had 2 callers after, and we have another caller right on the heel of the last caller. Call your 11 voices.
Mr. King.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. I called this morning, so I'm not going to
Appreciate that, sir.
long.
Appreciate that.
Yes. I was listening on excerpt from the midday news, and I was very astonished to have heard Dr. Douglas challenging the Prime Minister for a debate.
A debate, yeah.
Yes, and I wish and hope that the Prime Minister
accepts.
Please, Dr. Harris, accept it.
Okay.
The people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve that final touch to this election. The reason why I said that, if you recall the last election, Dr. Douglas claimed that he had left one time was 600,000, then he went up to 700,000, and now he said $1 billion.
Okay.
You know, and you look throughout the country when Dr. Harris took over. You had the IMF being owed. You had Petrocarib being owed. Dilapidated police precinct throughout the countries. Bills stacking up. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister said that he got a call from Social Security or somebody in Angola about a bill that is owed to their country. And so all of these things, how can one have $1 billion stack up?
We're talking about more than one debate.
Yes. And you had all of this money and you didn't pay these people. So I believe, you know what I'm saying? And there is a gentleman, I don't know how often you're on. His name is an economist, Howie Richardson, I believe.
Yes.
One seems very versed in spending and handling of money and involving St. Kitts financial affairs. And perhaps it'd be very good if you can get him on for a while, because the people deserve these 2 individuals on one stage. You cannot just sitting behind people back and then cannot face it. Just like you just ask the sister quite very frankly, did it work or did it not work, and you start stammering? You must be held accountable for what you have said. Words are keys. You unlock doors and you lock doors. And the people of St. Kitts need that final touch of this. Please, Dr. Harris, do not select Mark Brantley. He don't deserve to be on that stage with you to get attention. He's been there, and the people need this
Electorate, it's been a very, you're very welcome. It's been a very popular sentiment of late, this issue about debate. And as you pointed out, the Prime Minister should have no hesitancy in accepting that challenge for debate with the former Prime Minister. I think it will help tremendously. Caller, your live on Voices.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Give me my 5, eh? Give me my 5.
You got your 5.
Back to the last time.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. You know, I kept thinking about the story in the Bible, you know. When the children of Israel left Egypt and they crossed the Red Sea, and when Moses told them to go and spy out the land of Canaan, he sent 12, 10 came back with bad news, and only Caleb and Joshua brought back good news of the able.
Okay.
And then they went further and they organized themselves. The people chose leaders to carry them back into Egypt.
Back into bondage.
People have a short memory of what they endured. They were slaves in Egypt, you know.
They were in bondage, yes.
And you hear them, oh, we want to go back for the leek and the onion and the garlic. This is what we have. We have people now who are being picked to carry our people back into captivity. These are the ones who you hear talking now, who said, oh, you know, and the Labour Party, this and that and that. And they said that they were speaking the truth. Well, if you were speaking the truth then, and the situation was that dire, How has it changed? And this cry about free and fair election. I don't think these people were around.
5 years ago?
What 5? I'm saying 1995. After that, 2004, you say all of the thing down in 4 and wherever, the stacking of the same.
I recall driving towards Sandy Point some years ago. And the late Assegai was there. And there were the authorities, the military, insisting that people who are not from the constituency number 4 vote. I saw police escorting them to vote. I saw that.
I'm telling you.
But I try not to get political while I'm on the radio because I have my issues, but I try to keep it from here.
2015, when they were jumping out of the bus from Saddlers, they've never, and this thing about, the boundary this and the boundary that, they only changed the boundary when they thought they were going to lose. They won 95, 2000, 2004, 2010. You understand what I'm talking about? So this letter cry is hypocritical. I call it pure hypocrisy. You see, I think from Dr. Douglas to Dr. Harris, all the candidates supposed to get a sheet of paper. Let all those who are close to you write down what it is do you expect to get personally after the election. Because they're going to have to pay. Dr. Douglas is going to have to pay for the support he's getting because it's not genuine.
I see what you mean.
It's not genuine, and it's time enough our people learn to be honest. They can't fool me, you know. I mean, one went as far as to even imply that Dr. Douglas was complicit in the murder of an ex-person.
I recall that.
And in terms of the Mr. Grant challenge Dr. Douglas to a debate, and he said he will never allow himself to do it. So when he said, nobody ever did that, that's a lie.
Yeah, he said that this morning.
The facts are there. And for them to be begging people to go back into captivity, well, you might as well forget about election after that. You're only strengthening the hand of Dr. Douglas. It's like Moses said, all who go back, he said, anybody over the age of 20, you walk around till you drop. They never saw the promised land. And this is what they're offering you, you know.
We could also qualify this as also your point of view, eh?
Yeah. I am still being speaking.
Yes.
And I have a party to defend. But it's just the act. People believe them. I don't usually march and think. I went with them a couple times, you know, because I believe them. But now you hear them, Dr. Douglas has always been the best leader. I mean, you lied.
A matter of opinion.
If you lied,
but the facts will speak for themselves either way.
But they're now saying, Andre he was the best. I mean, the amount of abuse, and the lady said a while ago, God bless her, miss, I love you. You know, I love your voice and your enthusiasm. Here it is. You are saying all of these things. What kind of response you think you're going to get? What kind of treatment you're going to get? We need honesty. The thing about the Social Security, let me get there.
Yeah,
they did say that the 15 million came from the reserves.
Thank you.
Maybe my good friend, the ones that didn't hear. They said they had these reserves, and it came from the reserves, in case you didn't get it.
All right.
And all of this fake talk, and even this good one, my good doctor. I mean, talking about the state of emergency, it is the same thing Trump is saying. He's willing to sacrifice people in America to get the country up and running. It's the same thing.
The politics of the pandemic.
People who are willing to sacrifice some of us to bring in people so that they could win, because they know they cannot win unless they bring in people and place them all over the place. That's all the balling is about, you know.
Okay, your clock is ticking.
That's all that the balling is about. And I said already, all who know to pray, pray. Pray. Because if we say, God work and deliver us, and we are following people to go back into bondage, well, you will die, you will drop dead in the wilderness, just like how they walk around. They walk around until all of them who wanted to go back died. And
okay.
It was the young people, and it is the young people who will save this country, you know.
I want to thank you once again for calling back. You got your 7 minutes.
Because the only one that are hypocritical.
Okay.
And self-serving. Hypocritical and self-serving, the only concern if you and Dr. Harris have a problem, you don't got to destroy the whole thing.
Okay, Miss Henry.
Make sense.
Okay, Miss Henry, thank you very
All right,
much.
then.
Clock is ticking, and we have another call on the line as we speak. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Socrates.
Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm good. I just calling you here because you do your damn and you ain't do your damn. Hold on there. Let me move my way. Okay.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, what I want to say, right? Just listening to some people. I believe that some of them have something in their heart against the Prime Minister. They look up, they want to take down a whole plane to get at from the pilot. The Prime Minister, some of them, they were there. They helped get the unity government in. 2010, Douglas was so bad. He do so much of bad things. He lie, he did, he do everything. And now you mean today, 2015, the same set of people coming back and want to care back?
We're in 2020.
2020?
Mm-hmm.
2020, the people them got better vision. They're seeing better, they're hearing better, they're doing better, they're looking better, and they're sleeping better. You want to carry them back down the dark road where you said Douglas was carrying them? When nobody want to go down the dark road, nobody want to be in darkness.
It's called general elections.
Hmm? No, you support Labour. Labour was so bad. You move away from Labour, you join with Unity. Now you're going back to support the same Labour. What you should have done to make yourself look good, get a bunch of young people and run against Labour and Team Unity. You don't want to take back the same to your people. Who was there for you? Back down the road where you're not in the fence, you could see something personal. From the time the Prime Minister ring the bell, he'll catch your water and grab a wall.
Well, this, to some extent, is expected. It's a general election, and sometimes people go with who's got the better ground game. They look at what they see now. Sometimes people get selective memories. They only remember certain things, and they vote traditional. It's expected. That is why you find it's called a silly season. Go ahead.
Socrates, you see, Douglas doing good, a little good, I will say. He built a lot of houses. He built more houses than Unity. But when the reason why he built the houses, the more houses, he had the land. The sugar factory had just closed. Dr. Simmons had no land like that because when Dr. Simmons he still had the sugar, you understand me, I say?
Mm-hmm.
So he had no right to build more houses. They shouldn't even talk about houses.
So it comes down to choices and performance. The question is asked, is 5 more than 20, vice versa, etc. And it's quite a good debate. But what do you think about the prospects of Dr. Harris debating Dr. Douglas?
Well, I tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If me was Timothy Harris, I will never go and debate Dr. Douglas. You know why? When the man asked him a question, you know what he said? He misuse or something.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at Dr. Harris when he's delivering? The man could talk.
Sometimes.
He could debate. So
I know he could speak, but let me tell you something. I know he could speak, but the biggest lie somebody could tell is when they watch you in your eye.
It happens. But I think a debate would be...
A debate is good.
Very, very good.
Is very good.
I'll support that.
I don't know if Dr. Timothy Harris will want to face that right now.
He's big enough for that.
And Dr. Douglas saying people could trust him. These set of people know who they he. They couldn't trust him. I mean, this is ridiculous why these people come into the, you mean, we jump and run behind ISMI who are running. And now I are going back saying that this is the best thing. It can't happen and it's not going to work.
Okay.
Mr. Socrates, if you listen and look at the young people, them more pleased with what Timothy Harris doing.
Okay.
They say they want somebody to look up to. Whether you build house or do roof, you got to look for somebody who you train them to look up to in this time.
Okay. Got your point.
Timothy Harris have more respect for people. And you know what Timothy Harris going to beat them with? Kindness and the love for the people and the love for the country. Some people only have love for the people and the country when it's convenient for them and only them one got a God. But I don't think that God like what some of them doing now, because what they're doing I don't think it making much sense. Because
Okay.
Timothy, you're going to beat them with love, respect, compassion, and everything. And that is what people looking at. So the lady they were calling, you can't convince she has something.
No.
against the government.
We entertain all
Yes,
opinions.
she
We
does.
entertain yours, and we appreciate
Don't
that.
give the
So
government no credit at all.
that's okay. Okay, your
You don't
time.
give the government no credit, and she need to stop. She need to talk balance. Because look at the crime. Look at the crime rate gone down so low. She don't give the government no credit.
I'm trying to give you a hint.
I'm trying this Dr. Douglas so because we know he do a little good. Anyway, right.
Thank you very much. We're going to pause now for a word from our sponsors and be right back.
Free data with your top up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today, $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Horseman's. Get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Yes, pay zero VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horseman's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Don't miss it. It's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
From the South, 98.9.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
And we're back on Voices. Right now I want to give shout out to Joe in New York, to Bonnie in Barbados, Derek Fritzer, Howard Lone, and Brenda Onilop in Pittsburgh. Call, you're live on Voices.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. Sorry to call again. I hope this is the last. I'm going to make myself clear. If policies are not put into place that is going to hold and enforce, that is going to hold whosoever goes into office, some people say government, we are always going to go around and around and around the Jericho wall. We are not going to get anywhere. Things are going to be done haphazardly. And other people is going to see it as it is my turn now. I don't care whether it is Labour, whether it is PAM, whether it is CCM, whether it is NRP, whether it is Unity. I don't care. I was born here. I don't have anywhere else to go to live permanently. Whatever is being done in terms of policies affect me for the better or for the worse. Right? At least nobody could say that I'm a hypocrite. And I don't tell a lot of you, I'm not in any bandwagon with all you. When I get up at mornings, I don't go to Mr. Denzel Douglas. I don't go to Mr. Timothy Harris. I don't go to none of them in Nevis looking for my daily bread. My source is in my Creator. That's why I can speak with a fair conscience and a free conscience. Okay? Don't put me up in the politics. Are you talking about I have something, it seems like I have something against Mr. Timothy Harris? Well, people have things against God. Jesus, who did no wrong, a lot of people went against him. This is life, right? You can't decide whether I have something against Mr. Harris or not. Who is you to talk like that? You don't know me, I don't know you. You better get off my case. I have the right as a citizen to speak. I'm not here to champion or advance nobody's cause except the cause of this country, if I choose to speak. All right? So you don't come with that. I said they got in and they said they are going to change a lot of the things that led to a lot of the things that people complained about in the past. That's all I'm saying. You can't say that I am not backing Timothy Harris. You can't say that. What you want me to do? Stifle my conscience? Whomsoever you love, you chastise. If they're going wrong, you want to see them go wrong. You can't say that I am not supporting him. You can't say that I am, right? I'm not in any politics with anybody. I'm not in any politics with anybody. When the policies were going, when they spoke out, all like miso was the best thing since sliced bread. And that is why you see, I keep the stance that I stand. I have. Because I don't want to be up with nobody, because me as the person, me not going to say yes when it is no, and I'm not going to say no when it is yes. I leave that for all you. But I must come off of people's case, because maybe I know how you get. But all I want to know is that this place, it is tired of going through the same old, and people accepted, and they had hope, and they believed. And all you is the one who say, are you going to keep their feet to the fire? So what happened now? This is not about Denzel Douglas. Because if the policies are not there, you're going to still reach back down on the dark road, and you're going to still go back into Egypt. You understand? So why so many people are so discontented and they're speaking out? They voted unity too. So what is you all saying?
Is what? I happen to know you to be a very calm and focused person, and they really got you. They really got you.
Attacking people.
Yeah.
You understand?
Here, this is a platform that entertains.
Anybody. And listen, I don't buy friends and I don't sell enemies, and I'm not here to run no fan club. All right?
Okay.
That's it.
All right. I was saying that I happen to know the young lady. She's normally very calm and focused. Apparently, a comment upset about this platform is for everyone to hear the views, etc. And there's a call on the line as we speak. Call your live on voices. Call your live on voices.
Mr. Socrates.
Yes, sir.
I know you're giving everybody 5 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think I'm not here to run your show or to direct your show, but I think you should keep your eyes on the time, because one, your caller spent 13 minutes.
A caller spent 13 minutes.
Blame you. I know something moderator could get carried away. As they listen, you understand.
A caller spent 13 minutes.
People must have a conscience, because other people wants to get in. And I think 5 minutes, maybe. I think 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes is adequate enough. Your 3 minutes up, you could call back. That is just me, personally. I'm not here to direct your show. You understand?
Point taken.
All right. You have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir. And this is one of the issues. Caller, your live on voices.
Yes. Good afternoon again. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, good.
Yeah. I was hoping, actually, that lady who just called hit the nail right on the head. Right? The personalities don't matter. Whoever is in power should be held accountable, and that is what it was about in 2015. And I was hoping that Dr. Sweeney would answer the question, or anybody else would answer the question, why are we dealing with the same issues as last elections? Electoral reform, land for debt, the governance question. After 5 years, nothing has changed. If the boundaries were seen as such a big issue last election, it should have been dealt with first thing. And I would just ask a simple question. Which one is worse? You have someone who messed up, was punished for messing up, he admits to his mistakes and is contrite.
Which one is that?
He wants another chance. Or you have somebody who said, give me a chance, I will fix things, and then he come in and do worse. Shouldn't that person be punished as well? Why would we reward unity with another term? What do you think would happen? They're going to double down on the things they're doing now. They regard it as a blank check to do what they wish. I listened to Dr. Douglas over the weekend, right? And I also listened to Sean Richards and Mr. Hamilton. Dr. Douglas admitted to his mistakes, okay? But Richards and Hamilton were unrepentant and were arrogantly defending things like nepotism, right? The only way we can change this cycle is for the electorate to change government and keep changing until we get the governance we want. That's the only way we'll effect real change.
Let me cut in your time there. I didn't get the program. Can you give me one of the things that Dr. Douglas admitted to in terms of mistakes?
I don't think there were not any particular thing mentioned.
Oh, they weren't specifics. You just generalized.
No. The moderator for the program.
Uh-huh.
I think it was it might have been somebody, Garth Wilkin. He questioned, I think he was questioning him. And he didn't say what exactly the mistake he made.
I see.
But at least he admitted to making mistakes.
Okay.
But Sean and them, oh no. Everything is fine and dandy. And everything is not fine and dandy. If we keep doing the same things, we're going to, next 5 years, we're going to be coming back to the same things over and over again. Right? It's time we stop this.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your contribution once again. We are... Okay, I'm going to word this sideways. Call 11 Voices.
Yes, Mr. Socrates?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm calling concerning something that's a little bit different. What I would like to start out with is that I would like to start out with a question to everybody that is listening. If you were to die right now, where will you go? Where will you be going to? Heaven or hell? If you were to die right now, where will you be going to? Heaven or hell? I would like to ask everybody the question because, as the Bible clearly says, if you repent and trust in the gospel, you will be saved by the blood of Christ, and you will end up in heaven for all eternity. But if you die without repenting and trusting in the gospel of Jesus Christ, you would end up in hell for all eternity. And any one of us can die right now. This breath that any one of us taking can be our last breath. And this is more important. This is a more important question and matter than all the politicking. Because what the Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose your own soul? If your party end up in government or remain in government, and you dead and you go hell, what has it profited you? So, and that is what I said earlier, we are putting partisan politics in front of the Bible. We are worshiping the politicians rather than worshiping Jesus Christ because we put more energy in arguing and defending the politicians than we put in defending Jesus Christ and trusting his gospel message and repenting. Because we regard partisan politics and the politicians them above God and above Jesus Christ, and it's them who we are really worshiping. So I would just like to ask you, in all of these confusions, please let us get on the right path, the narrow road, because the question is, if you were to die right now,
where would you go?
Will you be going to heaven or hell? And that is irrespective of whether your party is in power or not, because the Bible, Jesus is the most important above all the politicians, above all the partisan politics, above all the politics, period. This is what we should focus on most of all. And then after we get Jesus Christ right, and after we get our life in order and we repent, then we will see clearly to do the right things where politics and where the politicians are concerned. But right now we are not seeing clearly. We are stumbling in the dark because we have rejected Jesus Christ and the Bible for politics and for the politicians. And that is very sad. For the Bible says, what will it profit you if you gain the whole world, including your politicians them being in power, but you lose your own soul when you die? Because nothing the politician then could save you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. You leave me with about 2 minutes to wrap up today's episode of Voices. We've had some very spirited callers today, covering various topics, mainly political. I spoke earlier about the a letter sent to the presidents of the taxi associations informing the membership that they are getting their share of the stimulus package as was promised. We are in an election season during the COVID lockdown. Over the last couple of days, over the weekend, we had for the first time in weeks a full week without any restrictions. And I think next week might show a difference. We've had calls from the U.S. We had Dr. Sweeney calling and giving his point of view. We had Lady Sylvie Helvey giving her making a contribution. We have a young lady who I know very well but never wants her name to be mentioned. She very impassioned about her position, about integrity, how the government is supposed to perform. We had a response, a rebuttal, very spirited. This is a platform that encourages you to call and make your opinions, ask questions, suggestions, as long as we keep it clean and civil. I think we were okay today, and that should be the format in going forward. I want to thank everyone that were able to call and make their contribution. For those who were unable to get in, I try to keep the calls down to 5 minutes. There's a recommendation to keep it to 3. We'll see what happens next week, because as we go more and more into we are 2 days away from nomination day. And as we go more into the election, the latter cycle of elections, we're going to get some impassioned callers and all kind of stuff, because we don't take our politics seriously. All I ask that we remain civil, respectful, and regardless of the outcome, we know that we are first and foremost nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis, even for those who are not from St. Kitts, obeying the laws, observing the just being human. You know what I mean? Showing you humanity. We don't need to get into the drastic and the name calling and the cursing and the vitriol. We are above that. We've gone way beyond that. We understand the politics. It's cricket, it's calypso. We get excited. But at the end of the day, we are all a people who all want the very best for our country or federation. And sometimes we don't get the government that we want. We have to work with the outcome of the election. So please, keep it civil. Don't be defacing anybody's properties. Don't be cursing people. Don't be attacking anyone. I did a jingle a couple of days ago, and I never attacked anyone in that. I'm speaking to the party of support, wishing them the best. I heard one from St. Croix, and they're cursing people, defaming people. That's not the way we need to go. We are beyond that. So I ask of you, as I leave you on today's program, please, let's keep it civil. Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it condition division. One people. I thank you.